Hello, good to see you. We're going to do a fun drawing tonight. We're going to draw the Punisher from the second season of Daredevil. All right? Now, what I want to let you know first of all is if you have not watched the second season of Daredevil, this show, what I'm about to do right now, is going to contain spoilers. I'm not going to try to hide anything. I'm not going to try to not spoil anything. So if you really want to watch that season and you haven't yet, please go watch it first because I'm totally gonna spoil it. Are you ready? Okay, let's begin. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that sometimes when I am watching a show, I will sketch. And so this is no different than I have here a sketch that I did earlier when I was watching, not surprisingly, Daredevil. Now, this sketch contains something that I really struggle at, and that is a caricature. A caricature, of course, is simply when you try to draw a real person in a cartoon type setting. And that is challenging. That is definitely challenging. But I have not shied away from it. What I have attempted to do is draw the actor who plays Punisher. You may know him as the bad guy from the first and second season of Walking Dead. Now, is this an amazing caricature? No. No, it is not. And I'm sorry if you grow tired of me self-deprecating myself, but the problem is that I am friends with some amazing artists, some people who draw things, and you're just wondering, did they just draw that? Or did an angel shoot lightning from their eyes and scribe that object into being in front of me? They're that good. And so when I try to draw something on this channel, I'm always very aware of that fact, shall we say. And it makes me a little self-conscious, but as we said from long ago, that the important thing is that you're having fun. And am I having fun drawing this? Yes, I am. I am having a great time drawing these for you, and I sure appreciate y'all watching them. Now, here's where we're getting into spoiler parts. I have absolutely loved the first and second season of Daredevil. And if you haven't watched them, I highly recommend them on Netflix. The entire first and second season are on there for your viewing pleasure. And I loved what they did with the Punisher. Now, a lot of people may already know or have a vague understanding of who the Punisher is. The Punisher has no superpowers. He cannot fly. He cannot deflect bullets. He cannot make bullets with his mind. And not even like a quote-unquote lower-level superhero like Daredevil. He cannot even, has really good hearing and could smell things from far away. The Punisher is simply a man. In every version, in the original version, he was a Vietnam vet. Of course, they have retroactively changed that as time has passed on. Nowadays, they try harder to make these things more timeless because they understand that when you date something like that, it makes a big deal. The original Punisher would be in his, he'd be almost 70 now if he was on the original timeline, which of course does not really work for what they're going for. By the way, I loved that in this second season he meets a Vietnam vet because they have a connection, because they are both in the military. And that was delightful. It didn't break anything. It didn't like mess up the continuity or anything, but it was just a nice little nod to the original character. And you don't have to know anything about the original character in order to enjoy that scene. But if you do know that the original Hank Castle was a Vietnam vet, it just adds a little spice to it. And what I'm doing here is just using my ballpoint pen. I'm drawing in this drawing of Hank, and I'm sorry, I've been saying Hank, haven't I? Frank. Do you want to know a secret? When my best friend and I were kids, we wanted to write a story. Now today, they would be called fan fictions. We wanted to write a story, and we wanted the name of a character. And so we stole Frank Castle's name, but we renamed him Hank Castle. Weren't we so clever? We certainly thought we were. But of course, the general concept of fan fiction was virtually unknown at that time. I mean, obviously people were doing it, we were. But that is why to this day I still have a tendency to say Hank Castle instead of Frank Castle. But this is Frank Castle, and Frank is a military man, but more importantly, he is a family man. He has a family, he has a wife, he has kids, and in whatever version you're looking at, one day his family is gunned down in the middle of a gang fight. And the exact circumstances that change from one to the other, and in fact, they are different in the Daredevil show, and I won't give that away because there's no reason to. It's not relevant to what I'm doing right now. But his family is killed, and if that happens to us, we're very sad and we help the police in whatever way we can. But if you're an ex-military and you have access to really big guns, you might take a different path. And so Frank Castle methodically hunts down the people who were responsible for the death of his family, and then after that, he goes on and he finds drug dealers, mobsters, people who are professional criminals. And today, it's almost quaint because there are so many violent anti-heroes. But back then, I believe he came out in the 70s. I could be mistaken, and please forgive me if I'm wrong about that. But he's been out for quite some time, the character. Was that he kills his prey, his opponents. And if he finds that someone is a mob boss or a low-level boss or a drug dealer, he kills them. And he's completely unremorseful about it. And as you can imagine, with so many superheroes, the thing that separates the superhero from the criminal is that they do not kill. They will not kill. And of course, here's this other guy who is ostensibly a hero, with the minor difference that he is murdering these criminals. And of course, that often puts him at odds with the others. Now, I'm going to pause for a second, and we're going to come right back so you can see the drawing. Okay, now, you still probably can't make out a whole lot from the drawing, and that's perfectly okay. That's because I'm going to color it in now and hopefully make things a little more clear. But what you're looking at here is Frank, and he is reading a bedtime story to his sleeping daughter. Now this is where we're getting into spoiler area. As you may or may not know, Daredevil has super senses, and part of these super senses is that he can hear incredibly well. and he hears something from the Punisher. When the Punisher is punishing people, he's whispering something to himself under his breath so quietly that a normal person would not be able to hear it at all. And he's whispering, 1 batch, 2 batch. And he's whispering a rhyme from a book that he read to his daughter. And he tells Daredevil that she loved this book. But whether it was from PTSD or whether it was from just adjusting being back from the war, whatever it was, the last night that he had with his daughter, he told her he was too tired, baby. I'm too tired. I just can't. And so his daughter didn't get to read and hear him read that story one more time. Now, that is crazy sad. So what I'm drawing here is an alternate universe where the Punisher gets to read to his daughter one last time her favorite story. That doesn't stop the sadness, but I know that as much as he may want things to be different, there's nothing that the Punisher would not give to have that one last moment to read to his daughter. I'm going to just do what I did in my last drawing and just shave off a little bit of the flesh colored for Caucasian flesh colored, and I'm going to kind of work that in there. And I'm getting an unexpected result. What happened was some of the black got in with that, and it's darkening it. But you know what? I'm going to work with that, and we're just going to work that into the drawing. It's going to give it kind of a texture and a color, and you know what? That is perfectly okay. I imagine that his jacket, being a military man, is a little on the green side. This is a little darker green than I would actually prefer, but we're just going to go with it, and that's okay. I'm going to try that shaving trick one more time. Shave and a haircut, 2 bits, and see if I can just get the green instead of the black as well. I'm just going to try and work that into the shoulder here. Very good. That looks nice. That looks really slick. Looks like I almost know what I'm doing. I do want to get just a little bit extra line there to kind of imply the collar. There we go. A little bit extra there where his shoulder meets. Now, if his jacket is green, I want a different color for what he's sitting on. Now, where is he reading this? It's very likely that he's reading it in his daughter's room. So I'm going to say this chair could be pink. Be a pink princess chair that he's sitting in. And there's something very endearing about a big tough guy doing something for his daughter. I know that I never get tired of seeing dads be good dads, and I, just like everybody else, is guilty of snap judgments and presumptions and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes I see a guy who looks, kind of gangster. He's got, the tattoos and the facial hair and all that kind of stuff. And then I see that he's got his kid with him, and he's walking him in the stroller, and he's chatting with him, and he's making jokes. And I think more than any other time, I realize what a horrible mistake prejudice is when I realize that anybody can be a good dad. Doesn't that look better? Yes, that looks so much better. Now, I know it's a cliche, and I'm sorry, but I want to have a little visual distinction here, so I'm going to give her some blonde hair. Easily have blonde hair, but also just to make the drawing pop a little bit. Give it a little more detail there. Very good. And I want an interesting color for her dress. Not green, so what I think we're going to go with this is light blue. Since I don't really have any blue, this is another time where I'm just going to shave off a little bit of the oil pastel. I'm just going to real gently work that in. Oh, that's nice. Looks really nice. I really like the way it looks when I do that. It's kind of just a delightful texture. I'm going to kind of make it a little thicker in some places to kind of give it a little depth. And where I'm going to use the thing is to kind of give her a little more of an outline. Make her a little visually distinct from the things around her. Lines don't really exist in real life, except in very rare cases when you're talking about humans. But in cartooning, lines are just such a wonderful shorthand for showing something. It sure does help when I use the right side of the oil pastel. Let's see. How about a nice bright color for the book? I've actually written in 1 batch, 2 batch on the front. I can't remember the exact second part of the rhyme, and feel free to comment on it for me. I think it's 3 a penny, 4, or something like that. It's something penny. I apologize for forgetting it. I'm just blanking at the moment. I'm sure you'll find it in your heart to forgive me. Draw a little extra detail on him. Give him a little bit of extra color there. Got a slightly darker skin tone, or Caucasian skin tone. I really need to not be, again, prejudiced and call it skin. It's obviously there's all kinds of skin colors, but he is a Caucasian, obviously, and so is his daughter. And his revenge is quite a revenge fantasy that you feel a great deal of sympathy for him, and I really think that the actor who played him just nailed that role, where he made you believe that, oh, well, yeah, of course, if that happened to my daughter, well, of course I would go on a murderous rampage and kill them all. And not just his daughter, but his whole family, his wife, and I believe he had a Frank Jr. boy. But I thought it was a really great use of Daredevil's power. I really like it in the series when they use Daredevil's power in a unusual way, and they don't just have him like where I'm faster and stronger. It's that he can actually hear unusual things, like, say, the Punisher saying things under his breath. And there's even a great scene where he tracks down the Punisher simply by smelling. Sorry about that. Simply by smelling and tasting his way to where the Punisher is hiding. There's a lot of that. I'm just going to blow off some of that there. And I think I'm going to do something I didn't think I was going to do for this drawing. I'm going to add a little black. Just give him a black t-shirt just to give it a little bit of contrast here, since I've got a lot of white going on. I got his skin tone a little darker than I was planning on, but you know what? It is okay. I'm going to use that white, and I'll try to contradict that with a little white. Give it a little contrast there. That's interesting. I want it to kind of pop out from his daughter. Now, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to shave off just a tiny little piece of pink. Work it over to the daughter just as delicately as I can. I'm going to try to get a little bit blush in her cheeks. He probably isn't even showing up on the camera, but I want you to know it's there. If I did too much, it would look like she was, painted for the back of the room, as the drag queens say. But just adding a little bit of touch there. And I want to put just a little more gray in the background here. Very nice. This is a room where it's semi-dark. And I honestly am afraid, do not know the eye color of the actor who plays the Punisher, so he's going to have brown eyes here, since that's a very common. I'm just going to leave it more or less alone, and really all I want to do now is kind of work in a little more ink in a few places. You're almost done. This little girl has fallen asleep, and she is in sweet dreamland. And Frank is telling her favorite story one last time. I'm almost done here. I just want to do a very simple color for Frank's pants to kind of flesh it out here. There we go. Nothing fancy. They ain't the star of the show, if you see what I mean. Gonna round that off. And as I always say, if you would like the original drawing of Frank telling the bedtime story to his daughter, you merely need to comment in the comment section of this video. Say that you would like the video. I hope you like the video, but that you would like the drawing. And I will send it your way. I will have you send me an email with your address. Just adding a little stipple to give the background a little texture. There we go. I think we are just about done. So if you do want that original, just be the first one to comment in the comment section. And I do appreciate if you subscribe to my channel so that I can make more of these for you. And if you have any comments, comment. I love all the comments that you guys have done. You guys rock. But I hope that you have sweet dreams, and I will talk to you soon.